Weight loss. What a subject. So you want to lose weight, you want to start your weight loss journey. I have 10 things for you to know before you start your weight loss journey. These are 10 things that I wish I knew before starting my weight loss journey, so these are very important. Before we get started, just a little bit of a backstory for me and my weight loss journey. Well, I feel like I've been on a weight loss journey for at least like 10 years probably. And it's been very on and off and not the most consistent. I have some long stretches where it is more consistent and I actually get some results, and then a big life change happens and then I lose that progress, and then I usually end up gaining a bit more back than I did before. And that's kind of where I'm at now. I am in my latest stretch of weight loss progress journey, I guess. And throughout all of this time, throughout all of the times that I have tried to lose weight, this is what I have learned from it. I think I've decoded it in a sense. So without further ado, let's get on into the video. Number 1, and something incredibly important to know and to understand, is that weight loss takes a long time to actually do it in a healthy, sustainable way. If you have been working out for a month, even 2 months, and you don't see results, that's probably normal. You shouldn't be expecting your body to be transformed within a short period of time, because that's just not what weight loss is. That's not what health and fitness is. This is something that has long-term benefits. And if you see people that do somehow transform their body in 6 weeks, that is not sustainable. That way of living cannot continue after this time of 6 weeks, because for your body to change so much, either like your metabolism must be remarkable, or you're working out too much, you're calorie restricting too much, and you just can't keep that up long term. And what usually happens is, after people do transform their bodies, then look at them like a year later. They're probably back where they were when they began. If not, they've put on more weight. So just be comfortable with your weight loss journey and just know that it is a long-term investment in your health, and it's gonna take a while. Number 2, progress is not consistent with time. Your progress will fluctuate. It'll go up, it'll go down, In my last kind of stretch of weight loss, it went up a bit with results, and then it went down again, and then I felt like I was just gaining more weight, and then like now it's kind of leveling out a little bit, but it is not consistent. A big reason because of this is because your body adapts. And so if you're doing the exact same workouts for the exact same time and you're also eating the same, then after a while your body kind of gets used to that. It's like the new normal, and you're going to be losing weight a lot slower after some point. And that's where you kind of need to start building resistance, incorporating other types of training into your workouts. And by no means does this mean that you need to always be cutting your calories. This is not a good idea. That is not what you want to do, because that is not sustainable. You want to be eating an amount of calories that you could live off of for 5 years. Like, if you're doing a diet that's a few weeks long and you cut back your calories so much, would you actually be able to do that for the next year, even a month? And if you can't, then you need to take a step back and say, this is not sustainable. It's just a natural process of the body that when you're a little bit lighter and you don't have as much weight to lose, then it's a little bit more difficult to lose weight. That's why if you're walking, for instance, if you're 150 pounds or something, then maybe when you're walking for an hour, there's so many other variants, but maybe you'll lose 200 calories, whereas if you're 180 pounds, then you will lose 300 calories. But if you're 130 pounds, then you might only burn like 150, 120 calories. So that is just something to keep in mind. Number 3, you will feel much better mentally before you see any physical changes. So by improving your health and fitness and really working on that, it does have such a positive effect on your mental health as well. And that's something that I really noticed and that I'm noticing now is from before, I feel like my body is the exact same, really. Like maybe there's a little bit of muscle definition now, but my clothes fit the exact same. But the difference is that I'm feeling so much more positive just on a daily basis. I'm a lot more happy and and not necessarily happy about my body and my physique, but just in general about life and everyday things. I'm generally more happy now after I've been exercising than I was before when I wasn't exercising. Number 4, this is very important. Just don't get on the scale. Like just don't. Just leave it. Just don't even look at it. I do not like scales. I hate scales so much because they do not show the truth. They don't show your journey and they don't show how much fat you've lost compared to how much muscle you've grown. Like if you keep getting on the scale and your weight is staying the same or it could be even going up, that's not necessarily a bad thing because you could be losing fat and you might be gaining muscle, which is really nice. And it's important to know that muscle is much more dense than fat, so it takes up less space in your body. So a better form of measurement to see how you're doing is actually by measuring. Like I usually just measure around my waist as like a general guide to my progress, and I think that's much more truthful compared to a scale. But also, if you're going to be like measuring yourself, do not get obsessive over it. Do not think that you have to be a certain number, because if you start getting into the numbers games, that's also really bad. So just be neutral towards it. That's all I can say. Number 5, working out doesn't mean that you can just eat and eat whatever you want, whenever you want, all the time. Yes, give yourself some grace. If you want a slice of cake, have a slice of cake, honey, because in the long run, it ain't gonna do that much. But if you're working out and you think that you're still gonna get results if you're eating junk food every day, think again, because most of your physique change is going to come from your diet. If you're over consuming, then it's not necessarily a bad thing. If you're trying to build a lot of muscle and a lot of strength, then generally people will eat more calories. But if you're trying to lose weight and slim down a little bit, then you also need to eat within reason. You can't be overloading your calories just because you're working out. And please understand, this is something I've learned, is that people who say, oh, if you want to lose weight, then eat a 1,200 calorie diet. And the truth is, 1,200 calories is what a toddler needs on a daily basis. So a grown human cannot survive on a 1,200 calorie diet. Your body will go into starvation mode and you'll probably end up gaining weight. So just everything within reason. Don't overconsume and eat 5,000 calories, but also don't restrict so much. So the 6th thing that I have learned is to not obsess over food and progress and exercise. Don't obsess over it and think about it 24 hours a day, because you can't be thinking about it for so long. If you do that, that's kind of the mentality that you would have if you're expecting results in a month. But remember, it takes a lot more than a month. It can take years for you to actually reach your goals. And so, you don't need to look into the mirror and take your measurements every day. You don't even need to do that every week. Maybe once a month if you want to track your progress, but do not obsess over it, because the process is much too long for that, and you will be disappointed, you will be burnt out because you're not getting the results you want as fast as you want. Number 7, be very weary of fad diet and exercise culture. I was recently watching this one woman's YouTube video. She's like into calisthenics and she's a trainer, and she was talking about how health and fitness has kind of been shown through social media as being a short-term process with nearly instant results. And she actually demonstrated how even a thumbnail on YouTube can be so deceiving, because you can easily just push out your stomach on one side of the thumbnail, and then on the other side you can flex, and your body looks completely different. And then if they have the title, "Get abs in 2 weeks," that is going to be so deceiving to people, and it is going to be so hurtful when they do these whatever exercises and diet and they don't get those results, because that is not truthful. And so just be very careful of that, and just know that there is no 2-week transformations. There is no 1-month transformations. It takes time, people. And there are a lot of people out there that will try and make money off of you or try and sell you stuff because you want to transform your body in a short amount of time, but it just doesn't happen. The 8th thing that I have learned is that a 30-minute workout is better than nothing, but you need to be moving your body throughout the day. If you do a 30-minute workout right when you wake up, and then the rest of the day you're sitting at your desk, you're sitting on the couch, you're just like sitting or laying down the whole day, that isn't going to do so much. And I am really experimenting with that right now. I'm kind of doing a challenge where I'm trying to get 10,000 steps every day, and I'm really going to see how that affects my body and how that affects my progress in my health and fitness journey. But also just think about this one thing. So think about your life now compared to your life as a child or a teenager. And usually when people think of child and teenagers, they're a lot skinnier or something, and people say they just have magical metabolisms, it's just because they're young. But think about your lifestyle now compared to then. If you're an adult, you probably have a car, you probably drive almost everywhere. If when you were a kid, you had to ride your bike, you had to walk, you had to move your body to get from A to B. And that's something that we've kind of lost growing into adulthood. And that is probably a huge reason why kids and teenagers have magical metabolisms. So that's something that I'm currently investigating and experimenting on. The 9th thing that I have learned is that at first, when you start your weight loss journey, you will feel tired at first. You will feel more exhausted. Your muscles will be pretty sore. But then after a few weeks, you will get loads more energy. I was so sluggish, and I even think my parents were kind of worried because like this winter, I would always just tell my parents, "Oh, I just feel so tired." I was just always tired. The whole day I was just so tired. And now, comparing myself back to then, when I wasn't working out, now I feel very energetic. I can actually get out and do things. I can be busy the whole day and it's okay. I can handle that. Whereas before, like going to the grocery store was exhausting, and now it's not anymore. and I can do a lot of other things. And going to the grocery store just by itself probably shouldn't be so exhausting as it was this winter before I was working out a lot. And number 10, the last thing that I have learned, well, I guess technically not the last thing, there's probably other things, but the 10th thing that I'm sharing with you today is that what works for other people may not work for you. Maybe it will, but in most situations it might not. And this is something that might be a little difficult when you're first starting. If you don't really know what works for you and you don't know where to begin, then you're probably just going to begin by looking at somebody else and just following what they're doing. Because if it works for them, it'll work for you, right? That's not always the case. And I can attest to this so much. This was such a bad idea, but I saw this one girl on YouTube and she was doing this OMAD diet. It was literally 1 meal a day. That's what it stands for, 1 meal a day. And I was doing that for a few weeks and it was not good for me. I remember for her, she said she felt so good, she had more energy, she was losing weight. That was not it for me. When I did that, I was so exhausted. I couldn't get up. I couldn't do anything because my body didn't have enough calories to even function. So that was not my best time. So yeah, unfortunately, this kind of does come with time and maybe some failures of learning this doesn't work for me, let me try something else. But if you just follow a very basic, overall, like medically approved weight loss journey, that will probably work. But if you're gonna look at some influencer online who's a model and says, oh, this is what I do to stay slim, it might not work for you because think about it, they're already slim. They're not losing a lot of weight. If you need to lose a lot of weight, that doesn't work for you because already their bodies have a much different metabolism. Whew. So this has definitely been a journey for me and I have learned so much about myself and just so much about health, fitness, nutrition. And I just want to say, if you are out there, I'm talking to you, if you are out there and you are struggling to lose weight, yeah, that was me too. So I can relate to you. I know what it's like. It's very frustrating sometimes. I have been very emotional about it because there are times, even this last week, I was at my in-laws and we were doing some work in the garden and I just brought some work shorts from like last year, and last year they fit me fine. I packed them in my bag without trying them on at first, and then I got there and they didn't fit me at all. I couldn't get them on my body, and that was very frustrating because it just shows like how much weight I've gained over this quarantine. And so yeah, it can be very frustrating sometimes when you don't really know why you're not seeing results and why you're not getting the results that you want. But I understand you. It takes a long time. Just know that you are not a failure because it's taking longer than 2 months to get your dream body. Like, that's not gonna happen. Sending encouragement your way. So I hope you guys liked this video, and if you did, then please give it a big thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to my channel for more content about my health and fitness journey, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!